Think about what you want right now. More money, a relationship, more confidence, freedom, success. And then ask yourself why you want that thing. And if you're really honest, it's because you believe that in having it will make you feel happier. It will make you feel more content, more fulfilled, more at peace. Which leads to the question that genuinely changed my life. If happiness is always the end goal, why are we postponing it? Why are we telling ourselves that happiness is something that we'll finally be allowed to feel once we've achieved enough, fixed enough, healed enough, or proved that we are enough? In this video, I want to show you why happiness isn't something you earn after you get what you want. It's actually a state that's available right now. You can achieve it right in this moment without anything external changing. And why learning to access it whenever you want won't lead you to become lazy or unambitious. It will actually fuel you and prepare your mind to help you achieve everything that you want with more clarity and with more confidence. And before you dismiss the idea, it's important that you know where this is coming from. I am not saying any of this from a place where life is perfect, because that doesn't exist for anyone anywhere. I'm saying it as someone who spent years of their life consumed by anxiety, overthinking, who was perpetually unhappy and convinced that I needed to be a better version of myself, or people and things in my life needed to change before I was allowed to feel good. And ironically, the very moment that I stopped treating happiness like something I had to earn, that's when my confidence grew. I felt way clearer, and my life honestly changed in ways that I could never have dreamed of. These days, I genuinely wake up and fall asleep with a smile on my face, not because life is perfect, but because I understand how to use my mind and how to regulate my state and come back to happiness far more easily. And through my immersive retreats and being a coach, I've watched the same transformation happen in hundreds of other people. People who, at the beginning of working with them, they were anxious, guarded, exhausted. And then afterwards, they felt so much lighter, calmer. They were in control of themselves and enjoyed being in their heads again, or for some, for the first time ever. That is why I talk about happiness the way I do. Because when you really zoom out, everything that you want is nothing more than a desire for a feeling. We don't want things for the sake of things. We want what we think those things are going to make us feel. Why do you want more money? Not for the number in your bank account or so you can buy specific things, but for the safety, for the freedom, the peace of mind, and probably the respect from others that you believe that it will bring. Why do you want that relationship? Not just to be chosen, but to feel loved, secured, and settled. Why do you want confidence? So that you can relax, so that you can be yourself and you can stop feeling so self-conscious. When you strip it all back, the answer for why you want anything is pretty much always the same. Safety, freedom, joy, relief, and peace. So feelings are really what we're chasing, not things, which is why it is so important to understand this. Happiness isn't a reward that arrives once you hit a certain goal. It arrives when you realize that it was never conditional on the goal in the first place. But most of us have been taught the opposite. We've been taught the lie of, I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I lose the weight, when I get closure, when I earn more, when I find my person, when I leave my job. And it's not your fault that you believe this. It's the narrative that we've literally been led to believe through school and all our lives, that, oh, you'll be able to relax once you've done that exam, once you get into university, once you've got that job. But it doesn't stop there. There's a brief high, a moment of relief and excitement, and then, before you know it, the goalposts move. There's another problem to fix, another level you want to reach, another version of you that you think needs improving. And something I've noticed, both personally and with the people that I work with, if happiness truly lived on the other side of achievement, successful people would never feel empty. They'd be happy all the time. And yet, if I'm honest, a lot of the highly successful, wealthy, accomplished people I know are some of the unhappiest people that I know. Some of them actually feel happier after reaching the goal that they set for themselves than they did whilst they were chasing it. Stephen Bartlett, for instance, has actually spoken openly about this, that when he sold his company Social Chain, a moment that so many people would assume would bring pure happiness and such a sense of accomplishment because it was what he'd been working for so many years, he actually felt really low afterwards. Because the meaning and the sense of purpose had been in the journey and the pursuit of that goal, not actually in the outcome of it or the achievement of it. Which brings me to something I really want to challenge in you. Being happy now doesn't kill ambition. And this is a fear that so many people have. They think that if they do what I'm saying and allow themselves to feel content, then they'll stop striving, they'll stop growing, they'll stop doing meaningful things. But in reality, happiness creates clarity. It creates courage and momentum. When you're happier, you overthink less, so you take action quicker. When you're happier, you're calmer and your mind is clearer. When you're content, you're more willing to put yourself out there and take aligned risks. Less anxiety means less paralysis. Less fear means more action. So I personally don't chase happiness instead of goals. I use happiness to reach them. When I'm in a really good state, I get better ideas. I communicate more honestly. I show up more consistently. I record more. And I create from a place of intention and alignment and authenticity rather than fear. So why then does happiness feel so hard to access? It's because most of us have been taught that our mood follows our circumstance. That if life is going well, then we're allowed to feel good. But if it's not, then we're not. But the truth is, your mood actually only follows your focus. Your mood follows your focus. Nothing actually needs to change in order for you to feel better. Your attention just needs to shift. And I promise you that's not a nice idea. It's literally neuroscience. It's how the brain works. Which is why I want to give you a few really practical ways to access happiness right now, in this very moment as you're watching this video. And you're not going to do it by changing your life. You're going to do it by changing your state. So the first is gratitude, but not the kind that feels forced or like you're performing or writing it for the sake of it. Not a long list of things that you rush through because you think you should be grateful. We're actually only going to write one thing that genuinely makes you feel appreciative when you think about it. And the key here is that it shouldn't be something big. I want you to think about the small things, that if you didn't have them in your life would be worse off. Like a kettle. I know that if I woke up this morning and my kettle wouldn't work, I then wouldn't be able to make my morning coffee, or I'd have to boil it over the stove. And I love having my morning coffee. And if I had to wake up and spend 10 minutes boiling water and then pouring it, I'd probably make a mess and it would take way longer, and I just want my morning coffee. So in recognizing what it would be like not to have a kettle, it really makes me appreciate my kettle. Another one, I used to live in a house where the shower head practically dribbled water out. And so showering was really not a very enjoyable experience. Whereas now we have a really big shower head that is super powerful. So I'm incredibly grateful for that because it makes washing my hair so much easier. Just showering a much more enjoyable experience. So it's important here to note that we're not just finding things to be grateful for because you could be worse off. We're doing it because on a chemical level, it makes you happier. Gratitude lists don't work because it creates a change in your circumstances, but because it creates a change in your brain chemistry. You see, gratitude activates the brain's reward system, boosting serotonin and calming the nervous system. Stress hormones drop as a result, and your body receives the signal that it's safe, and therefore your emotional state shifts. So that is literal proof that how you use your mind has more influence over how you feel than what's happening around you. And I can do a video that dives deeper into the science on that. The second tool is visualization. The only reason you want the things you want is because you believe they'll make you feel better in having them. So instead of waiting years to feel those feelings, you can actually practice them now. You have an amazing mind that allows you to imagine anything you want. It thinks in pictures. So why not imagine your favorite place, relive your happiest memory, or visualize a version of your life that feels so joyful? I remember when I was a child, I actually had an imaginary black Labrador I named Copper. Now, I never actually ended up having my own dog, but imagining that I had Copper made me feel as happy and as grateful as if I did, and it was a hell of a lot cheaper for my parents. And the science here is that your brain doesn't actually know the difference between fact and thought, which is why thoughts can have such a powerful impact. And so your nervous system responds to visualization as though it's real. And as ludicrous as it might sound, you don't have to wait 15 years or burn yourself into the ground working all hours of the day to access that state. You can mentally visit it at any moment. And the third tool is movement and music. Emotion lives in the body. You can feel flat, tired, or unmotivated, but put on a song that you love and move your body, and within minutes, endorphins are raging. These natural chemicals result in your mood lifting, and they reduce stress and increase energy. And all of this leads to the same conclusion. Happiness isn't a finish line. It's a state that you can practice. And the moment you stop treating happiness like a reward you'll earn someday, everything else becomes easier to build. So today, you don't have to believe me right now, but I promise you that if you just try one exercise, dancing, visualization, or gratitude, and really commit to it, see what happens. You will notice a shift, because you don't need your life to change to feel better. You just have to remember that your mind is the key to happiness that you've been ignoring this entire time. I appreciate you.